Leomund's tiny hut. Yeah, Leomund's tiny freaking hut. A little secret for GMs. When you hand your players something, they are going to use it to its fullest advantage, sometimes stupidly. So, from the player's handbook, a 10-foot radius immobile dome of force springs into existence around and above you and remains stationary for the duration. The spell ends if you leave the area. 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside. Spell fails if the area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures. Creatures and objects within the dome you cast the spell can move through it freely. All other creatures and objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through it. And that lasts for 8 hours. My party is in the middle of the Sunless Citadel right now, and after fighting a somewhat rough battle, they decided to huddle in a room and tiny hut it up. Here's what happened to them. My name's Patrick. Here's the campaign diary. In the middle of the Sunless Citadel, there are 4 arboretums on the grove level. They are the southernmost one, sealed off. They had wedged off the door to getting to Area 47, but they had not done anything about Area 48, the northern half, in which goblins had gone, alerting everyone. And then they decided to rest for 8 hours. So here's what I did to them. Normally, they might fight a few goblins and some twig blights and maybe a skeleton or 2 or 3 that were in the room. Inside the room, I snuck 8 twig blights in a growth that formed massively outside the dome. That just started building up and growing and growing and growing, waiting for the moment that they dropped that dome. Which eventually they did. Hetfield and Aleena and Greta readied themselves. Aleena brought up her mage armor because, of course, she did. Greta went ahead and started hacking the door open to try to get out that way because you could pass objects from inside out. So she was swinging through the tiny hut into the door, which, of course, she hacked apart after several attempts, revealing some skeletons running towards them. Also, at the distance, they could see some tables, which may be used for cover. And I emphasize the may because of what happened next. So when the hut dropped, all the plants that had been building up spilled into their area and started attacking them and grappling them. Greta was the only one that got grappled, which I kind of wanted to dick with Aleena and Hetfield, the spellcasters. Hetfield, of course, immediately cracked off at 2nd level, when these vines were like 5 hit points to damage them, a shot of his Thunder Wave. They hacked and fought through the twig blights, and Greta pushed into the next chamber, where in addition to twig blights and all the skeletons that were piling up, we also had vine blights, which are bigger and nastier versions of blights. If you look in the monster manual, these are all spawn of the Gulthias tree, which if you read through the monster manual, the Gulthias tree was formed from the stake that was put into a vampire, and it produces blights of various kinds. Vine blights, twig blights, needle blights. They haven't run into any needle blights. I don't think they're going to run into any needle blights. They're going to run into something else, though, but that's for another adventure. Meanwhile, they discover that in addition to the skeletons, there's also the blights, the vine blights, and the twig blights. Oh, and also, I have 8 goblin archers, and unbeknownst to them, more goblin warriors who are going to come running around the barricades once they start pushing past. Hetfield gets to the doorway, Greta's into the next room, Aleena chucks a fireball through, and pretty much roasts most of the blights. Not killing all the vine blights, but making short work of them thereafter. The goblins, however, start spraying arrows and start damaging the party significantly. By this point, Greta's thrown on her rage, and that means she's only taking half damage from all this shit coming at her. Now, the room is an extended and narrow T. The goblins are using the T for cover and tables so they can get in, shoot, and get covered. It means they're going to have to launch some things. Of course, Aleena has 2 castings of fireball. She casts the fireball and explodes all the goblins, except for the 4 that are at the far end of the room. They finish off the blights, finish off the goblins, and crawl, and then charge and finish the final 4 goblins. So my encounter, which was supposed to be more difficult because of just the sheer number that was occurring in the action economy, got fireballed out. That's on me. I knew I wanted her to be able to use fireball in awesome and cool ways. Proceeded to room number 50, which is the Shrine to Ashardalon. After Aleena reads the Draconic runes and gets a bonus to her charisma, which is going to mostly be useless, although she could probably do some charming with whatever his name is. Although she could probably charm Belak with it. A little shadow pops out, and they make short work of it. Not surprising, it was an easy encounter. Just mostly an annoyance. But they also find some more cool stuff. They proceed through Area 51, go underground through Area 52. Hetfield's quick to pick the lock into Area 53, which is Belak's study. They find some nice treasure here. There's a glyph of warding on the one book they pick up. It does 5d8 damage. The average on that is 22 points of damage. 22 points of damage. I rolled higher than that. Now with their hit points, that brought them low. But let's see here. The Sunless Citadel, this is a beginner level adventure. It's for 1st through 3rd level characters. My character's all 5th level. But there's only 3 of them, and I've been ramping things up, so it's kind of balanced out. But 22 points of damage. A 3rd level wizard would be, the base would be 18 hit points. Unless they had a +2 constitution, they would be knocked unconscious instantly by this. And this is after the parties had to fight some people, so it's not like they're going to be fully rested in this dungeon. Naturally, this brought the party a little low, so they decided to rest for 10 minutes. Luckily, I had some goblins that then burst in, and, well, they killed the goblins pretty quickly. The goblins don't stand much of a chance. They had to burn whatever dice they had, because obviously they did a short rest after that long fight, and then they got in here and took another short rest just to get their hit points back. But the important thing is that they have not had a long rest since that big-ass fight at the beginning of the adventure. The important point is they have not had a long rest since the beginning of the session. And they didn't have one at the end of the session, which means they're going into the big battle. Aleena, using Arcane Recovery, has gotten back one of her 3rd level spells, so she still has a fireball, which is going to come in handy. Hopefully she has the sense to use it on the right target. There was a scroll of Scorching Ray that the party could find. They found that, except I changed it into a lightning bolt because I just like lightning bolts. They're fun. Plus, needless to say, the 10 Twig Blights and the other baddies they're going to fight. Now, of course, the fight is going to be a little nastier than in the book. Now, in the original, it's 10 Twig Blights, Belak, and a few other small creatures that I'm not going to name because, spoiler alert. But those are supplemented probably by some Vine Blights. Belak is a whole lot more powerful because I built him up to be a serious-ass druid. And one other nasty surprise for the party that they will not realize until it's too late. Because the nice thing about most plant creatures is that they're completely unidentifiable until they start attacking you. So that's it! Next time, we're going to have the big bad fight, and hopefully I'll TPK the party. Or not. It's the 21st century. TPKs are kind of fun. says that I'm saving that for the Tomb of Horrors. So until next time, may you roll well or something. I don't know. That's my catchphrase. Get out of here. See you next time.